Hey, 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 Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Hello, hello, everyone. Good evening. Today is Monday, my favorite day of the week. Yes. Monday has become my favorite days of the week. When I used to have a job where I was working for someone else, I didn't like Mondays, but really, I love Mondays. I like Mondays now. Hello, hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me. Let me go make sure that you guys can hear me because last time I was having some technical problems and I want to make sure that I am connected completely. Because last time I'm sure. Yes, I can hear it. Great. So today, hello, hello. Today we're going to talk about 3 steps to develop $1 million idea. So, 3 steps to develop $1 million idea. How's everyone? If you're live, say hello. If you're watching the replay, just hashtag replay and say hello. I always come back and check to see your comments and see um who comes on and see the messages that I am sharing with all of you. Share with another therapist, with someone that you think that can benefit from this. But we're going to talk about 3 steps that you need to take in order to develop $1 million idea, right? Because we are constantly exposed to ideas, to different things that we can implement in our businesses, things that we can do, but that doesn't mean that's always the right thing for us. And it's not always in alignment with what we're trying to do in our lives. So we have to make sure that we are in alignment with the things that we want to do. So, uh, it was a great weekend. I had to deal with some things in terms of HR in my business, dealing with the stuff that comes up unexpectedly and that you have to take care of. If you're alive, say hello. Don't hide. Just say hello. Nobody's going to bite you. I don't bite people. I just want to help the people. Let me see. If you hear somebody playing the drums, that's my son over there. He's living his best life, and we have to allow him to live his best life. That doesn't bother me. Alrighty, guys. So, if you don't know me, my name is Soribel Martinez. I am a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Connecticut. I am the CEO of SM Psychotherapy and Counseling Services. We are a company of mental health practitioners who are helping women and their families so they can feel better, overcome depression, anxiety, and they can build meaningful relationships through individual therapy, couples counseling, family therapy. We also offer group therapy, psychiatric services, immigration evaluations. We also offer evaluations with kids with autism or possibility of autism. So those are the few of the services that we offer. I also offer consultation and business coaching to help private practice owners build $1 million private practice. And we do that through creating a massive impact in the community where we can double our income and we can double our profit. Because that's what a business does. That business makes money. If you want a nonprofit, that's a different story. But if you want a business for profit, that's what we need to do. We need to bring revenue and we need to have profitability because that's what a business is all about. Today, like I said, I want to talk to you about the 3 steps that you need to take to develop $1 million idea. And the truth is that in order for us to build $1 million business, we need to have $1 million idea. And one of the things that I find quite often is that people get a lot of ideas in their heads and they're constantly changing what they want to do. So they get lost, right? They get lost in all the ideas and all the great things that they think that they can do. But people have a really difficult time being focused in one thing. And one of the things that Think and Grow Rich says is that People who amount great amount of money and create great impact in the world are people who are hyper focused. We need to be focused in one idea, because if you are, splitting your energy and splitting your thoughts and splitting your resources, then you water down what you can do and what you can accomplish in your business. So I want to share some of the things that I have done that have produced me great results in my business, that produces revenue, and that helps me um, provide better services to my clientele, to our clients, to our community, so we can continue to impact them and create, the vision, and to bring into fruition the dream of creating more impact and more awareness about mental health, so we can remove the stigma that there is in society. Still in 2024, there is a huge stigma about mental health services, people hiding that they're in therapy, people feeling ashamed that they're receiving services, right? Because quite often people look at it like, oh, I am not crazy, I don't need to be in therapy, I am not crazy, I don't need to see a counselor. When in fact, right, first of all, we do not use the word crazy as it relates to mental health services or mental health illnesses. Okay, you can be in therapy and not have a psychiatric diagnosis. You can be in therapy because you are processing things in your life. Maybe you have stress at work. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you have a child who's dealing with mental health illnesses. Maybe you are just transitioning. You're in transition in life. Maybe you're transitioning to college. Maybe you're transitioning in life, right? Maybe whatever that is. Maybe you just had a child. Maybe you're trying to learn how to manage the different roles and responsibility that we have. So we still see this idea about mental health services and how ashamed people feel of sharing that they're in therapy, right? And I often talk about, normalizing the fact that we all should have a therapist. I deeply believe that everyone should have a therapist and a coach. And the reason why I believe that is because everyone, I believe that everyone has psychological problems. And if you don't, that means that you live a perfect life. And nobody has a perfect life. We don't have perfect parents. We don't have a perfect society. We don't have perfect opportunities. Nothing is perfect. And one way or the other, we can get impacted by the interaction that we have with our environment. It could be at school, it could be with friends, it could be at home, it could be at work, it could be anywhere, right? So we are often denying ourselves the gift of doing self-care. Sometimes we're denying ourselves the gift of really taking care of ourselves deeply, so we can be as successful as we can be in our personal life, in our spirituality, in our emotions, in our mental health, and in the work that we do, right? So we have to normalize that receiving therapeutic services is a gift. It's actually it is a blessing that we live in a world now that we are normalizing and we are accepting more and more that mental health services is so important for the success of someone's life and the fulfillment of our lives, right? So, and I say this because our one of our marketing strategy right now is to remove the stigma of mental health illnesses in the community by educating people through, we want to have a mental health podcast through actually, blogs and articles, and educating the community about the importance of having a therapist and a counselor that can help you figure things out, that can listen to you, that can actually hold you accountable for the things that you should be working on so you can be a better human being. So, with that being said, as a therapist and being in the business of mental health, and you being in the business of mental health and being a private practice owner, one of the things that you have to pay attention is developing that $1 million idea. How do you want to approach mental health services in the community? Or you just doing services because you have no other choice? Or maybe, you were tired of working in agency work and you just like, okay, let me start a small private practice so I no longer have to listen to my boss, right? So for me, every time I think about my ideas, the number one thing that I always do is that identify a problem or a need in the community. And one of the things that I want to encourage you is to, yes, look at your competition. But don't look at your competition with the goal of competing, but rather to understand what is missing in the market, what is missing in the community, what are some of the problems that we are confronting, that we are dealing with, right? What are some of the social issues that our society is managing, so you and I can come with a solution to the problem and a solution to the people's need. And there is huge amount of need in the mental health sector. There's a lot of need, there's a lot of programming, there's a lot of ideas that we can develop to truly empower people to be the owner of their own health, to take control of their own mental health, to take control of their own emotional health, right? So we often just focus on the physical health and relationships, but we fail to understand that our physical health and our relationships and any other area of our life is going to be really impacted by mental health. So if we keep that in front of us as business owners and we understand that identifying a problem or problems in the community can actually help you create $1 million private practice, that if you can offer the solution to people's need, is what is going to get you to the next level in your business. Because $1 million, what it does is just represent the amount of service that you are going to offer to the community. If you offer a small amount of services, you're going to make a small amount of money. If you offer a large amount of services, then you are going to equal that to more revenue, to more profit in your business. But we always begin with what? With what is the problem and what is the need that we're trying to resolve in the community, so we can go out there, identify the unmet need in the industry, and we can target the market with exactly what they need. And the way that I did this early on in my practice was that I was doing in-home services, and I often talk to my clients about, what else do you need? What is it that you need from me so I can offer it to you? And not only having conversation, but I created a survey that allowed myself to ask the questions to my clients about what is it that was missing for them. And then when I identified what was the problems and their needs that they had, I was able to identify that I was able to provide those services. And one of the things that people identified was psychiatric services. They wanted to more group service, group therapy. They also wanted immigration evaluations, psychological evaluations, and they also wanted books, and they wanted workshops, and they want courses, and they wanted all these things to help them self-develop and go beyond the therapeutic chair. Because the therapeutic chair allows them to heal, but we need a process to bridge some of that work that we do in therapy so they can continue on a journey of a lifetime, right? So when I was able to do that, and I was able to identify what were the challenges and how I can fulfill those challenges, I was able to create solution to many of the problems that my clients were having. And this is how we are able to identify $1 million idea. Quite often we focus on the wrong thing. We are focused on what our competition is doing, but we don't think about what is it that the competition is not doing that I can bring forward so I can offer to the customers that I want to serve. Because actually it's not about competing. It's to fulfill a need, to fulfill a void, to fulfill a gap, right? There's a gap that we need to bridge, and we can do that through our services. But we can only do that if we can identify the problem and the need that our ideal customer may be having, right? A successful idea needs to be point out and it's specific. You have to be really specific. Right now in my private practice, I identify one problem, and it's case management. Because quite often my therapists are seeing clients that have problems beyond mental health. Some of them are homeless. Some of them may not have enough food. Some of them don't have jobs. Some of them they need other services that we need someone to provide case management for them. Because it's not necessarily a therapeutic issue. It's not a mental health or emotional issue directly impacted by a psychiatric disorder. It's actually impacted by some of the issues that they're having in their lives, right? That if you don't have food, if you don't have a place to live, if you don't have money to pay your electricity or the heating, so on and so forth, right? Why would you want to come to therapy when you have a bigger problem in the moment, and or the basic needs of our clients are not being met? So in the spring, we are launching a self care, a case management program, a program that is going to allow, right, our clients to receive therapy, but also have a case manager that can sit with them either virtually or in person to identify some of their needs that they have, that we can address in therapy, that they actually need someone to help them bridge them to the resources that may be available to them in the community. Right. And part of that case management program is going to be to assist with food, with housing, to assist with all the services that they need, that we can fund them so they can go ahead and help themselves. Right. The next thing is, like, you need to innovate and brainstorm. One of the things that I find with mental health practitioners is that they are not innovating. They get stuck with this idea that I have a small private practice and that's all there is to it. And actually, there is so much more work that could be done in the community through your business, right? It could be providing resources, free resources, or providing other services that they need. So once you identify the problem and the need, you need to brainstorm in different ways that you can bring forward a program, right? An idea that can actually not only impact the life of the client, which is number one, but also bring more revenue and more profit to your private practice. So we need to think outside the box, right? We need to look and explore different angles in which we want to, or we can provide services that is innovative, that is creative, that's new, that is energetic, that brings forward that desire to serve the community. And for me, in my private practice, in our business here, we're not only providing services just for mental health services, but we also help people in the community to connect them with housing. We connect them with food for their children. For example, having a mother who her home was plagued by bed bugs, right? And she had to get rid of all the mattresses in her house. She has 5 children, right? So we were able to provide them with new beds, right? Beds so the children can sleep in a bed where they're not getting bite by bed bugs. So it's not just let's talk about the trauma. It's not about just let's talk about how to improve the depression and the anxiety, but also providing people with resources that will help them better their lives and the life of their children. So gather, information. Ask your client what it is that they need. Ask other people what ideas do they have in ways that they can help other people, right? I have someone that contacted me this weekend, and she was talking about a program in Waterbury where we want to help teenage moms, right? So they can continue to go to school. And a lot of times what they're missing is a formula or Pampers or car seat, things like that. So we want to be able to bridge that need, right? So we are the ones that need to make sure that we're providing this, because who will? Right? We cannot leave everything up to the government. We can be part of the solution, not just part of the problem. So one of the things that we need to do is think about a fresh perspective and how these problems can be solved. And a lot, you may tell me, but Soribel, I can't help the whole world. I can't change the whole world. Well, what you're responsible for and what I'm responsible for is to help one person at a time. We are not to solve the problems of the whole world. We are to resolve the problem of one person, right? Because if what we can do is change the life of one person, that is enough, because that person is good enough, because that person is enough. So we need to get creative. We need to open our minds to really understand what people need, how we can innovate and help them, how we can grow, how can we multiply what we already have, how we can duplicate what we already have, right? Because of course, I cannot be the case manager and the therapist and the business owner and the clinical director. I can't do all of that. But there's people out there that will do great work as case managers, correct? So we have to be able to innovate and create job opportunities for other people to grow, to innovate, and to be able to create a better life. One of the things that we need to do is to validate our ideas. A lot of times we don't validate our ideas. We have to do some market research. We have to do some survey. We have to seek feedback. We have to even run a pilot program, right? Which I have done with JC Foundation. When I decided to that I wanted to do JC Foundation, I started with my own money, taking care of the families in the Dominican Republic, right? So I was testing it. I was looking at the need, right? And then I was able to apply for a grant and get a grant to help more families, right? So we have to be able to improve our concept, to refine the concept, to continue so it gets better and better and better. This is not about perfection, right? You don't have to start having every single piece of information perfectly aligned, right? What we do need to do though is we need to be able to start. Even if it was one family that you're helping, that's enough. If it's one person that we're getting off the street, so they're no longer homeless, that helps, right? So we don't have to conform just with oh, I can't change the whole world. I'm not Oprah. I don't have billions of dollars. And even her, with all the money that she have not been able to solve all the problems. She picks one particular problem, one particular need, and she creates something to help out. And that's, as a private practice owner, this is how we want to look at what we not want to offer. And to do this and to help you continue to grow and hit $1 million mark, I am offering a free intensive on February 17th at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. And this intensive is completely free. You are going to be able to come with me for 3 hours to learn on how to build $1 million practice, right? Because what you see is the $1 million, right? But what I want to invite you to think about is what that $1 million represents. And I'm going to share here the link to register. So you can register. It's completely free. It's a 3 hour virtual intensive where I'm going to teach you some of the first steps, some of the first things that you need to do in order for you to create $1 million private practice. And it can be easier than what you think if you are open to learning as the skills, the tools, and the strategies that you need to develop your business. But that starts with an idea. When I had the idea to open my private practice, I didn't even have an office space. And then the idea was that I'm going to start as a in-home therapist. I'm going to turn my little car, my little Mercedes Benz, white on white, beautiful car that I had, I'm going to turn it into a mini office. And that way I can go into people's house and provide the services, right? So the idea of starting that way has yielded so many millions over the 5 years, right? So you need to come to a place to learn some of the skills that you need in order to bring your business to $1 million and beyond. And of course, you don't start at $1 million. You start $100,000, $200,000, half a million, 700,000, whatever that is. But we need to start somewhere, and it begins with an idea. And if you have the and if you have the commitment, the purpose, the vision, and the mission, we can make it all worked out. You just have to make sure that you are open to $1 million idea and actually execute the steps that will take you to that success. So go to $1 million private practice intensive.com and register. It's completely free. It's going to be on a Saturday because I know that many of us private practice owners, right? We see clients during the week. You're going to be able to ask questions. I'm going to give you as much as I can in 3 hours. And I think that you are going to love the information. And this is not no, I'm going to give you some of the tools and the strategies that I have used in my own business, and some of the tools and strategies that I have written in this book that is being launched in May. May 18th is the day that we're going to celebrate the launch of this book. And let me show you the manual of my big old manual of 800 pages. Here it is, that I designed, I created to give my clients all the tools, the templates, everything that they need to hire, to onboard clients, to onboard therapists, to grow, marketing strategy, all the things that you need to get to $1 million. It's easier than what you think. When you are committed to the work and you decide that you're no longer going to think that it's enough to just have a small something. That if you have the purpose and the calling, go all the way in. And that begins on February 17th at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And you can register at $1 million privatepracticeintensive.com. And you can actually have a great time with me and learn as much as we can together. So listen, if you have any comments, leave them in the comments. If you have any questions, leave them in the questions. But don't miss it. Don't miss it. $1 million idea can yield $1 million business. But you have to be willing to commit and listen to your idea. And you need to be able to do one, you need to identify the problem. Two, you need to innovate. And three, and the third step is for you to validate the idea and implement it and revise it as much as you can until you make it the best that you want it. But you don't have to wait until it's perfect, quote unquote, before you can launch it to the world and help at least one person. Sometimes one person is all we need so we can create massive impact. So I'll talk to you later. Adios. Besitos, besitos.